Hey folks, Zach Hubeck with another edition of Airwaves. I've got some very special guests today from Ruckus. We're talking all about Ruckus One, and I have with me three gentlemen on the line here. Why don't we start with Scott Fain? Tell the folks who you are, sir.
Thank you, Zach. Scott Fain. I live in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm a principal systems engineer focusing primarily on hospitality and leading the charge with Ruckus and in hospitality nationally, and then also globally.
All right. I love it, Scott. Thank you very much. Saurabh, you're up next, sir.
Hey, thank you, Zach. Very excited to be here. My name is Saurabh Mathur, and I manage the Ruckus product portfolio for management and control. This includes Smart Zone, which is our workhouse controller, and Ruckus One that we are here to talk about today. We are very excited to be here. So my association with Wi-Fi networking goes a long, long way. You know, at the expense of dating myself, it goes back to the day when IEEE 802.11s, if you can remember that, you know, the mesh networking standard was being formulated. But that's the story for another day. Let's talk about Ruckus One today.
I love it. So, Rob, you've seen a lot, my friend. You've seen too much, probably.
I've seen too much. I've seen too much.
All right, Steven Bronken, bring us home. Who are you, sir?
Sure. Steven Bronken, head of global hospitality. And Zach, I got to tell you, I'm a longtime listener, third-time contributor to your show. So very, very happy to be here.
I love it.
I
awesome.
of course lead the strategy for hospitality globally for Ruckus, working with all the major brands and really trying to focus our hospitality play to be the biggest and the best for everyone in the industry.
Awesome. I love it. All right. First question's up for Saurabh here. Saurabh, why don't you just tell the folks at home, what is Ruckus One and really what's its role in a Ruckus network? Scott, Steven, you can add some color after Saurabh goes first, but go ahead, sir.
All right. So, you know, I'm going to set the stage before I give the details on what Ruckus One is, right? So if you look at what our mission is, what Ruckus's core mission is, it is to deliver purpose-driven networks that offer the best possible performance in whatever vertical we play in, right? Whether it's hospitality, whether it's education, you name it, you know, we strive to do better than everybody else in those difficult and challenging environments, right? And at Ruckus, customers are at the center of everything that we do. And our customers, in turn, are focused on delivering the best user experience possible, right? Nobody wants their customers to have the worst possible experience, right? So it's always focused on, you know, what's best for the end customer.
Sure.
And, you know, we've seen a pivot in the market from, you know, being very, very network focused to more about business outcomes, right? Our customers are looking at business outcomes, right? For hospitality, it's about guest experience, right? How is the guest experience overall, right? And they need to bring different types of access technologies to bear, right? So it's no longer about just Wi-Fi or wired. It's a combination of different technologies, right? So when we started talking to our customers, you know, they said that we love what you guys do in terms of simplicity, in terms of ease of use. And now, can you guys deliver a platform that unifies everything that you have to offer? Anything around management and control, but without losing the simplicity that Ruckus delivers. So that's where, you know, Ruckus One steps in. So Ruckus One is our AI-driven cloud platform. It's an evolution of our previous cloud product that unifies you know, our different software offerings on management and control.
All right. And that previous offering is Virtual Smart Zone. Is that correct, Saurabh?
Yeah. So Virtual Smart Zone is our on-prem solution. So you would host it yourself. You take the software and you deploy it either in a cloud type environment, or if you have your own data center, you have racks of servers, you would deploy it there. In the case of Ruckus One, it is hosted by Ruckus in a public cloud environment, and it's managed by Ruckus.
Awesome. All right, Scott, why don't I hear from you, sir? What gets you all jacked and excited about Ruckus One? What are some of the unique features that you're very proud of to bring to the market?
Well, yeah, first of all, I'm very happy to take Virtual Smart Zone, as you mentioned before. It's a great product. It really expanded the horizons of a lot of service providers and large customers in this business, and it's taken it to the next level. So you don't have to be a managed hosting company, you know, in order to deploy Ruckus One. You know, we're taking all of that, you know, that extra work and effort out of your hands so you can focus on your business outcomes, as Saurabh very well mentions. We take everything that was good about Smart Zone and Virtual Smart Zone, and we bring it into our cloud, and we offer it to you and customers as more of a service generated platform. And then the big thing that we can offer to like major hotel brands, for instance, is consistency, right? Consistency. So with one platform hosted by one individual company, we give that ability to see all of your, in this case, hospitality, all of your properties. You can look at them all. You can apply templates to all of them. You can do metrics and analytics against all of them at one time. And you get a very consistent experience, because the one thing that major hotel brands and major customers want, it may be the best, it may be not the best, but they want it consistent. You can make changes as long as you know what those consistent changes are. And so we're going to bring that to the fore, and we're going to say, you get a consistent experience that is easily manageable. And we believe that's going to be a huge play in this arena.
Beautiful. Love it. Steven, you got a long history, man, of hospitality. You've talked to a lot of owners through the years, MSPs. What gets you excited about Ruckus One, and how do you feel it's going to impact the quality of service for those hoteliers and MSPs we're working with?
Well, actually, it's a great question, Zach. And the thing is that we've taken an already great product, which is Ruckus One, and we've completely customized it for the hospitality industry with that in mind, like making sure that the brand has ease of use, making sure that the brand has everything that they're looking for in a reporting platform. But in addition to that, also the ability to have a property move within its life cycle from, MSP or LSP, land service provider, to land service provider. So, with an ease, without downtime, without transfer of licenses, so forth. So we've made it really, really easy for a brand to not only uphold their Wi-Fi standards and make global configuration changes and reporting and so forth like that, but we've also made it easy for a property to ebb and flow over different LSPs.
Awesome.
In addition to that, from an LSP perspective, having the ability to take on a property or to pass on a property to another LSP without having to have the property have downtime or anything like that is extremely important. And more importantly, when they go to set up that property initially from scratch, we actually have built-in templates as well to assist with the installation time, which will help them deploy a property a lot quicker and a lot more accurately than before. So we're really putting the focus on Ruckus One into hospitality, making it easy for the brand, making it easier for the property management company and the LSP. It's really a great product that's purpose built for them.
Awesome. I love it. The reality of our market is there is a lot of consolidation that does happen. It's inevitable. I think you take any market in the US, Canada, Caribbean, wherever, there is going to be some consolidation. If you guys can make that a little bit more seamless for those properties, that's amazing. Cool.
Yeah. And we also have a lot of open APIs as well, right? So if what we have today, our partners want hooks into to get more information out of or more commands out of to make it even easier, that's available. So I think that's key.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we don't want to scare people off from thinking that we're taking business away from anybody, right?
Correct.
We are enabling our partners to do their job much more efficiently. And in times where the workforce is shrinking, margins may be shrinking, et cetera, we're making a product that is actually going to help the service providers do their job much more efficiently with a lot of the templating and the zero-touch provisioning and the ability to kind of set it and forget it. And we believe it's just going to be much more efficient as a platform. And you have the same platform at every property you go to. We've been blessed with having multiple iterations of our platforms over the years, from Zone Director to Smart Zone to Virtual Smart Zone. But every one of those required a different configuration and a different knowledge set. And this time, this is the last one we're making, right? Ruckus One is going to be the one. It may have tweaks over the years, but it is going to be the platform going forward.
All right, you heard it from Scott. There will be no Ruckus 2. All right, I love it. No, that's a great clarification there, Scott. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk about competition, boys. You're not the only game in town. Who does Ruckus One really compete with in the market? What are some of the ways it excels over the competition? And really, what are some ways it could improve? Who wants to take that one?
Sure, I can start out, and then we'll open it up, of course.
Awesome.
I think that there are other providers out there who have cloud managed software, right?
Yep.
That's we're not the first one to this game, but we do believe we're the best. We do believe that specifically for hospitality, no one has listened as closely to us as us to the market. No one has understood the market as closely as we have, and in those ebbs and flows and what our LSP partners need. I mean, Ruckus has a very, very long history of being extremely partner focused, and that includes our relationships with the brands. It includes our relationships with the LSPs. We are not trying to, build a product and then force it down someone's throat, right? One of our LSP partners. We're trying to build a product that is around what our LSPs need, and we're talking to them, and we're talking to what the brands need. And that's why we're hitting the nail on the head so well. So we believe that, regardless of who is out there for competition, we are going to have the best product specifically for hospitality than anybody else on that market. And we're doing so in direct discussion with several of the major brands today to make sure that we get it right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I would say that, what Steven said, right, that's basically a product of our focus on customers, right? We don't focus on what the competition is out there, right? But we focus more on our customers, our partners. We listen to them and then make their lives easier. We are the leaders in ease of use, but ease of use also does not mean dumbing down, right? It means Ruckus One is working hard behind the scenes to make your network perform better. We recently launched our AI-driven radio resource management that monitors your network continuously and optimize it to reduce or even eliminate things like co-channel interference, right? Our automatic incident prioritization is unseen in other products, right? So we are leaders in ease of use and making things easier for our customers while giving them the best performance in the market.
Very cool. Scott, anything to add, sir?
Absolutely. So we've taken, as both the guys just said, we've learned from folks who may have been in the industry before in this portion of the industry before we have been. But it's because the success of our previous generations of software that it kind of took us a while to get here. We were very successful with our on-prem hosted, if you will, data center driven virtual smart zone. And in some ways, we had a lot of opportunity, as Saurabh said, and both Steven did as well, as we listened to what our customers wanted. We had a very successful platform. We didn't have to rush into this platform. We've built it properly. We've built it by looking not only at our customers, but what the rest of the industry is looking at. And we've sort of cherry picked what works and what doesn't work, both from our own platforms and maybe what the competition is doing. But it's very focused on our customer base. We may not be in every single industry, but the industries we're in, we are very focused and very laser, guided in this. We ask them what they want and we deliver it to them in the most efficient way possible.
Very cool. Guys, we're talking a lot about LSPs and MSPs that naturally lends itself to a hospitality environment or even an MDU environment. How do you guys see systems integrators or resellers potentially embracing Ruckus One who may not have that managed service practice? Who'd like to take that question? What's your advice for those folks?
Good question.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple different, obviously we have a single user version of the Ruckus One platform. So if you are a small and medium business and you want to make sure that maybe you have 3 restaurants in town and you want to make sure they're all managed appropriately and that you have 100% uptime for your critical applications like point of sale or something like that, you can manage them as a very small entity, very easy to get started, very easy to keep support on, see everything at the same time. You can move into the medium and larger enterprises. One thing that this cloud product is great for are things like bank branches or retail outlets or anything that's repeatable, but you don't want to send somebody all over the country to do installs, for instance. You put access points and switches in a box. You put the serial number into the Ruckus One venue that you build for that particular location, and you ship it. And the person on the other side takes it out of the box and hooks it to the cable modem or what have you, and they come online with their configuration. They'll upgrade their code. They'll drop kind of seamlessly right into the network. And then once they come online, the central administrator starts managing them. It becomes a very easy zero touch and self-provisioning platform. And I think that takes a lot of the complication and a lot of the cost out of running a service business that may not be your main business. You own 10 gyms and you want to make sure they have quality, Wi-Fi for all the equipment, for instance, and it can't go down or else the videos don't work on the Peloton bikes, for instance, right? You want to make sure that is reliable. And the best way to do that is to make sure it's centrally driven. And this is a great product for that.
Yeah, and I think based on the innovations you guys have baked into the products, now is a better time than any. If you are in that reseller or integrator mode and you want to jump into the deep end of being a managed service provider, it's easier than ever now with push notifications. And, Scott, you hit the nail on the head with the amount of cost you'd have to spin up a traditional MSP 10, 15 years ago. Hey, get your 24/7, 365 knock in place, have a dedicated brick and mortar, hire 5 people to sit and watch the phone. I mean, those days are gone, my friends. And Ruckus One can absolutely fit in that equation these days. Yeah.
Well, in addition to that, I mean, you add the injection of artificial intelligence right into the product, which Ruckus One has. Right now, you need less resources to help manage, identify issues, and keep that property going. So Ruckus One is really going to help with the overall life cycle of a property. Right. Again, it really helps with the installation, cutting down time and effort that's needed, and then it also cuts down, what's actually needed to run that property going forward, and ensuring that there's always a fantastic connection between the Ruckus products that are on site and your end users, right? It's really that advanced piece that's going to be out there that is going to allow a smaller organization to feel like deliver services like a bigger organization.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, cool, guys. Connectivity is one thing. Well, Saurabh, I'm sorry, I totally cut you off. What would you like to add?
I was going to say that, I just want to echo what you were saying about the economy at the moment, right? We look at the macroeconomic conditions and, IT budgets are getting squeezed, right? When was the last time somebody came to you and said, what, I have now a budget to hire, 5 new IT people?
Yep.
Never, right? And it's getting even tighter now. Right. So with the cloud-based deployment, you are kind of taking that cost away, right? It's very simple to deploy, whether it's a small deployment of 5, 10 APs or very complex networks, right? It makes things super easy.
That'd also be a weird question, Saurabh. I do marketing here for Wave, so if somebody's coming to me asking for the IT budget, that'd be really messed up. But I know what you're talking about, my man. All right, awesome. Well, connectivity is one thing, fellas. All right, and you've proven it over and over and over for years that you really have great connectivity, but security is also a critical concern in these days and times. So how does Ruckus One or Ruckus in general address network security, guys? Who wants it? Rock, paper, scissors?
I can start.
All right.
So security obviously is a very key element of any network, right? And many times there are different types of vulnerabilities that are detected, both in software and even in lower firmware. And one example is the infamous crack attack that happened on WP a couple of years ago, right? And a lot of times what happens is, especially with on-prem deployment, people, the Ruckus network always works, right? People just fire it up and forget it. They are not paying attention to what's going on in terms of vulnerabilities and security issues that are happening out there. And they would continue to run old firmware, which makes the network very, very vulnerable to attacks. And that's one of the biggest concerns that we've seen from all the major brands in hospitality, that some of these properties are running equipment and software that's pretty old, and they are not patching it, they're not upgrading it to the latest specification and the latest standard. With Ruckus Cloud, you have the option of auto-updating your firmware, right? So we are constantly releasing new software, and once a vulnerability is detected, we would release a new patch. And if you've enabled auto updating of the firmware, the system would automatically push push that security patch onto your network, right? Making it secure all the time. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is actually creating the network that is secure, right? So we have things like microsegmentation, uniform policy and enforcement that will segregate the traffic. And so even if some rogue devices are coming online, they will not be able to inflict damage onto your network.
Got it. You put them in a separate room, kind of like when I travel up to Canada and say the wrong thing, they put me in a separate room. Right, Bronken?
Don't travel to Canada with a screwdriver, man. They think that you'll be up here to take our jobs. That's the way
Right
it is.
here, I do sales. What? All right.
But just to add on to what Saurabh said, I mean, one of the other things too about the firmware deployments, specifically for brands, as it comes to it, is that brands are very particular about ensuring that the proper firmware is in place. So when a new firmware patch from us gets released, they may want to check it out in their lab first to make sure that it's running absolutely perfect with all of their systems. So we can do that before that updated version is actually allowed to be released across all their properties. So a brand can actually control that release, right? Whereas before in a virtual smart zone environment, they weren't able to do that other than just the administrative, sending notifications and so forth. In this instance, they can actually lock that firmware version out from being deployed until they're ready.
Cool. Keep them in the vestibule before you launch it.
Correct.
That's cool. Scott, what did you want to say?
Well, the last bit of security is obviously network security and access security to the product itself. One of the hardest things to do is keep people in or out of your product who are supposed to have access. So if you talk to a security director, rule number one is do not ever create a shared login ever, right? Well, if you're an LSP today, you have a shared login. I guarantee you everyone has one to all the on-prem controllers because there's so many hundreds, thousands of on-prem controllers and cloud logins that are managed by, one person and they just don't have the bandwidth to be able to create a login for every single person. With our cloud product, with Ruckus One, we have single sign-on ability. We can use an Azure AD database to log in only authorized users. So if someone joins the company, you add them to that Azure AD database, they immediately have access to all of the properties that they're supposed to. They leave the company, we just you strike them from the database and then you don't have to go around changing your passwords. You don't have really a lot of passwords on the equipment. You use an off-prem database that's managed by the proper security folks to manage it in such a way that it follows the spec. And as a service provider and as a vendor, we can go to the end customer and say, we have locked down our security such that you can audit it and it's in one spot. You don't have to look in 100 places for who can access your equipment because there's a huge trust level. You're a major hotel brand or you're a major enterprise company, and you want to know who's in and out of your equipment all day because when there's a breach, they don't say who the guy on the typewriter or on the keyboard was. They say who the brand was or who the major company was. They don't list the individual person. So you have as a brand, you have to trust everyone who logs into your equipment. So Ruckus One being a centralized platform with basically state-of-the-art security, and it can keep moving with the times. This is the other great thing, whether it comes to being a software update. A software update can also mean a feature update, which could be a security update. All these are on demand and in real time.
Very cool. I love it. I feel very secure with all of your answers.
Good. And we have a big black dog watching the door, so
there you go. And I think Scott said typewriter. If I have any coaching to you at all, Scott, make sure you upgrade your firmware on your typewriter after this is over.
I will.
Okay. If I've learned anything,
you just
from
dated yourself. Scott.
I am old.
All right, guys. Success is contagious. Let's talk about a success story with Ruckus One. Give me one of your favorites. And what was the use case? What was the vertical market, end user? You don't have to mention any names specifically, but let's talk about success with Ruckus One.
Sure. Saurabh, you got this one?
You got one?
Yeah, sure. We have actually many success stories with Ruckus One. So Ruckus One is an evolution of our cloud platform. So all the customers who were on Ruckus Cloud, the previous generation, they have already been moved to Ruckus One, with the exception of maybe one or two. They're always laggards. So we are already seeing a lot of deployments of existing customers who have moved into Ruckus One. We've also seen a significant uptick in new customers so when we went out in the market and we explained to them, the value that it brings, there were a lot of excitement, and we saw a lot of new customers come in. And I'll give you an example of an MSP in the East Coast, right, that manages a pretty large network. And one of the areas that they wanted to kind of take advantage of Ruckus One was in the area of automatic categorization of various incidents, right? To be able to kind of proactively manage their network rather than somebody kind of calling them post fact. Some issue is happening, their client is not able to connect to the Wi-Fi. People would just make a phone call, and then it leads to a frenzy, right? Like IT people getting woken up at odd hours and being sent to the site, things like that. So with built-in AI, incident troubleshooting, the system continuously monitors your network and will bubble up incidents, and not only bubble them up, but actually prioritize them for you, right? So you know what to focus on, what is your most important thing that your IT folks need to focus on to solve a customer issue. It has real-time monitoring. You can capture Wi-Fi packets and visually see what the flow is. One of the other cool things about the product is it has built-in service validation, which was taken advantage of by this particular MSP numerous times, right? So you can run a test without sending somebody over to the site physically with a laptop or any other mobile device. You can initiate a test using a virtual client that is built into the access point. You can trigger different kinds of connectivity tests from within Ruckus One. So I think that cut down their support time and their time to react significantly. So that's a great success story, with Ruckus One.
Awesome. We humans love our hours back in our life, and it sounds like you guys are saving some humans some hours. Well played.
Mm-hmm.
And triaging things proactively if there are any issues that come up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, I get it. My synapses fired there. Steven, did you have anything to add, my man?
Well, just on that point of saving people hours, you and I both know that people need their beauty sleep, Zach. You and I both know better than anyone. Right? Yeah. So giving those people those hours back, yeah.
I get it.
Definitely helps.
Guys, let's talk training. Let's say people are really believing what we're throwing at them here, and they want more info. How do these people get trained on Ruckus One? How do they jump into the deep end of the pool? What do you got?
You bet. So we're working right now as we're rounding out the Ruckus One hospitality version. We're actually setting up our training right now with our LSPs. We're going to walk them through everything that they need to know, making sure that they know how to onboard clients, how to manage them, how to offload clients, etc. So we're going to be doing that right now. We're going to be working, of course, closely with our distribution partners such as Wave, to make sure that that information is driven home and everyone knows how to best manage Ruckus One, how to access it. How to, we of course have software trials for their labs, for example, that are available. We really want to make sure that the industry knows very well how to use Ruckus One, and as well, they know the clear advantages over Ruckus One over our competition.
Very cool.
I would add that you can also go to CommScope University and enroll in the Ruckus One training program. So it's an hour-long course that's available. That walks you through different deployment scenarios, what the configuration looks like, sort of gives you a hands-on version of Ruckus One. There is also a YouTube channel that we have, the Ruckus Networks Education channel. So if your subscribers and viewers have not done that, I would highly encourage them to kind of subscribe to that channel. You'll find tons of videos on Ruckus One there. We also host several training sessions in different geographies. So you can go to commscope.com/RTF, what we call the Ruckus Technical Family. There's a whole bunch of information there on Ruckus One.
We also have ruckusnetworks.com as well for further information.
I love it. And everything's backstopped with, you guys are a very, very channel-focused company, obviously. Folks, you have so many resources at Wave and MBSI Wave, your Canadian and U.S. distributors. We know the right folks to get in touch with. Obviously, if I've assembled this dream team here, we know a lot more folks than these three on the call, and we'll find somebody to help you out, folks. So we're more than happy to do so.
Yep.
Scott,
Absolutely.
what did you want to say?
Just always contact your friendly neighborhood sales engineer, and they will hook you up with whatever you need. This is the focus for Ruckus, this product. Everyone in the company is laser focused on understanding this product. It is where everything is headed. So if you have a contact at Ruckus, they will know about this product. And truthfully, it becomes very easy to understand. It's very intuitive. You kind of get walked along the process, and as you're building a new venue or property or whatever you're building, it's very it walks you through the process, and the training is going to be more about like, yeah, okay, I understand this. And then you're going to go back to focusing on, the business side of it. And that Ruckus One will be there watching everything while it's happening. And go back to your core business of making money using Wi-Fi or other services.
I love it. Well, guys, I think we gave them every option to contact us, with the exception of homing pigeon. So hopefully everybody knows they're well supported here. Guys, is there anything else we didn't discuss that we really want to bring to the market or should discuss with the folks who are listening in here?
Well, I just want to bring one thing, and it has to do with Wave and BSI Wave, Zach. I've always said that I will spend hours and hours and days to save 30 seconds or a minute or an hour. With Ruckus One, this is sort of the dream come true. As I mentioned before, zero-touch provisioning, equipment shows up at your door. It can be configured automatically when it drops out of the box. But you guys at Wave and MBSI Wave are critical to this process. And I know this is like, you get the equipment, you can scan our serial numbers, you can get them into a document that's sent over to the end customer. It can be uploaded right into Ruckus One directly from Wave. And it can be uploaded. You can have your names of your access points. You can have the names of your switches. You can have it all defined so that by the time the equipment lands, you don't have to send it to a distribution center and then configure it, spend hours and days configuring it, put it back in a box, reship it back to the end customer, and then have to have somebody still, configuring it as they go along. Literally through the combination of Ruckus One and Wave, we can configure this completely zero touch. So either folks on-prem can do this, or when you ship or when you send someone out, you don't have to send as many people because it just doesn't take as long. And then your ability to audit all the information. You have your serial number list from Wave. You have your list that showed up at the property. And when all of the boxes turn from never contacted cloud to operational, the job is done. It's great. And so you guys at Wave, you kick the process off, and your tool sets and your communication and our partnerships really are what has enabled this product that's going to be successful. That's what's going to happen. So,
Scott, you have officially warmed my soul, sir. It's a frigid, crisp day in Chicago, but I am as warm as could be. Thank you, my man.
Absolutely.
I love it. We love you too. All right, folks. Well, this has been another edition of Airwaves, all about Ruckus One. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the knowledge, the info, and the great best practices and successes we're hearing about it. More to come. I really look forward to working with you guys more on Ruckus One opportunities. Thank you, fellas.
As do we.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.